OMG, this is like the sixth time I'm recording this. It's gonna be great, guys. I had to restart the computer. I'm trying to get the sound not to suck. We are laying out our model box for the Who Lives Here project today. So you're gonna open up this PDF in Schoology where it has a picture of the layout of this model box, right? It has dimensions for you. Right now it'll print out in 1/16 inch scale, but we are building it in 1/4 inch scale, 1/4, okay? The 1/4 inch scale. So I am now going to switch to a different camera view and even a different video from earlier this morning. And I will now walk you through some of the basic layout stuff for this piece. Right, so the first thing we're gonna do is this back piece, okay? And so you can see it is 42 foot 0 inches wide and 22 feet tall. So we go to the 1/4 inch side. We look at the bigger numbers now until we get to 42 feet. Right here. Oops. There it is, 42 feet, okay? I'm gonna measure that far from the edge, from the corner of my foam core. So my 42 is right there, and then I'm going to place a little mark with my pencil, and you can use either a really sharp regular old pencil or you can get out your mechanical pencil, would be awesome sauce. And we're going to mark right there with our pencil. Great, okay. So that 42 foot mark, you can see it and everything, how cool. Now you're going to use a straight edge that is square. So we were going to use the edge of our Bristol board as this straight line, okay? And I'm going to have you take that straight edge, line it up with the clean edge of your foam core that you got from the store, right? So the store made this nice square edge. And then we're going to line this up with that mark that you just made and trace along that line. Okay, so that will give us a nice square corner right here and also over here. If you have a triangle, you can use a triangle instead of the Bristol board. The next thing you're looking for is 22 feet tall. And again, you're going to pull this up on your scale rule, 0, slide over to the 22, right there, great. And I'm going to measure that 22 feet tall. Great, okay. And I'm going to put a little mark at the 0. So, because you'll have a full sheet, I only have this like piece of scrap nonsense. You'll have a full sheet at this point. You will be able to then measure another 22 feet to do the front side, which is going to be great because then you'll have 2 along the same line, okay? What I do after I've gotten that edge nice and clean, right, I line up my square sheet of paper along that line, right? Hold it down, and then I draw straight across to get a nice square bottom edge, okay? So now this should be a perfect rectangle, even if the rest of my sheet is a mess, which it very clearly is. This is now a perfect rectangle because it's square on this corner, and it's square on this corner, okay? And I have a nice rectangle. I'm going to just write with my pencil on this that this is the back, okay? You'll then do that with the front, okay? And in the front, after you've laid it out, let's pretend I finished the back and I moved on to the front. We're going to erase this. We're going to call this the front now, okay? I'm going to write down in this middle section, which I'm going to end up cutting off anyway. When I do this on the front side, I also have to cut out the proscenium, right? So that it ends up looking like that. I need to cut this hole out, okay? And I'm going to measure that along this bottom edge, again using my scale roll, again using the 1/4 inch scale side. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to be like, okay, I know from my drawing it's 8 feet from each side. That's how wide the proscenium is in this theater space. So I line up my 0, I line up my 8, I give myself a little marker there. I'll do the same thing by flipping my ruler around on the other side. It's 8 feet from each side to the proscenium. So now I have 2 marks there, right, on either side of the proscenium. And I take my square, my triangle, or my piece of Bristol board, and I now am going to draw some straight lines up from those marks so that they stay perpendicular to the ground. I use that guide, okay? Do the same thing over here. Use this guide. Go nice and perpendicular from the ground. Okay? Once I've done that, now I have that size figured out. Great. Now I just need to measure how high the proscenium is. I think it was 14 feet, but let's go check. Yep. So the proscenium is 14 feet from the ground, and I'm going to go grab my ruler again, my scale rule, measure that 14 feet in 1/4 inch scale. So that's right here. Right there, 14. Okay. And I'll put a mark at 14 feet tall by lining the 14 up with the bottom and then drawing my hash at the 0. And then I can take my square piece of paper again, my square piece of Bristol board, and we will go ahead and draw that line. Okay? Ta-da! So that when I come to cut, I will just cut out this middle section. Okay? This is the strategy. So you will now work through your whole project. Okay? My advice is to do all of the pieces that are the same width in a line, right? So that's going to be your front piece, your bottom piece, and your back piece. They're all that same width, okay? So you'll just lay them out on your sheet of paper, 1, 2, 3, okay? And then you'll just take your side, these little side tabs. You can cut those out of anything. You could even cut them out of this gap in the front, right? No problem, okay? So you'll only need the one end, like on one end of your sheet of foam core. You should be able to line up those 3 boxes, 1, 2, 3, okay? That is your project for today. Just lay it out and then go ahead and submit for me a picture of what that looks like, okay? Thanks, guys.